All right, guys. This is game one of our second best of three tonight. We are on Terraform for a ZVZ this time. And in the bottom right position, wearing the red trunks, sporting that excellent horse head clan picture, it is Hot Damn's Tempo.
And his opponent, slightly less hot, it is the blue Zerg player on the top left from EV Technologies, LeetPandA.
He may be Leet, but he's definitely not as hot as Tempo. Tempo is a pretty sexy man, if I say so myself.
Pretty sexy man, and I'd love to say what was going on in the lobby beforehand, but also a funny, quite the funny man here too. But this will be a ZVZ, as you mentioned, and Kamatiazo is our in-house expert, I'd like to say. I've been trying my hand at Zerg for a while, but any thoughts on Terraform? Obviously, it is one of the new map pools, but in the ZVZ specific?
ZVZ specific, it's not that big a deal. Roach v. Roach can be interesting on this map, just for the same reason that any other matchup is really interesting on this map, just because of the attack path. This crazy spiral action that can be cut up by these rocks and opened up by mining out these bases over here can get really interesting when you start swinging around, and in particular in Roach v. Roach, when in the late game, when you're maxed out Roach v. Roach, you don't really ever get in any of the other mirror matchups like a truly mirrored engagement. But in Zerg versus Zerg, a lot of times you end up with like 60 roaches versus 60 roaches with +2 attack versus +2 attack, and there's literally no difference in the army other than control of the players. And as a non-Zerg player, that may not look the most interesting to you, but I find a lot of cool nuances to those battles. And this map can have some really awesome flanking abilities. But with mutas being pretty popular in the meta these days, a lot of times on this map you just end up getting muted to death. And I tend to veto it simply because it's no good for Zerg against the other races, in my opinion. But so I don't get to play it very often against Zerg. But overall, a fun map, especially like that there's a gold base, which can be really fun for some neat, cheesy tactics.
Yep, I've seen some crazy tactics on this map out of Zerg versus anyone taking that gold base. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of really cool things that happen on this map. But as you also said, with ZVZ, it tends to sometimes be a 100% mirror. And that's honestly, I'm not a Zerg player, but that's why I love it, because it's all about positioning and how you control your army. Looks like now, though, for LeetPandA, taking a little bit earlier gas, going for that quicker speed, and we'll get a nice scout off on a Tempo, and we'll see no speed is started yet. It'll be interesting scouts just because both players are literally having a full scout and almost doing about the same thing. Do you think, as you mentioned, Roach v. Roach is quite common, but also just the possibilities of mutas purely because, I mean, the third base is very far away. You can contain your opponent very easily. Do you think that's a possibility in this currently?
Yeah, especially from LeetPandA, going for Ling Speed into Banelings, you can follow up into mutas pretty strongly from that if you're able to do damage. Likewise, I mean, from Tempo's position, you can also go into mutas. It's really a personal preference as to what you like to do. And actually, both players are playing so similarly right now, just building their buildings in a slightly different order, basically. Tempo going for that like mini wall off with the Bane Nest and the Queen, just like LeetPandA. LeetPanda's tech is a little bit further ahead, and he's already going for high or layer, excuse me. So he just goes, his gas goes directly into speed and then directly into layer. So he's almost certainly going to be going mutas this game, and I like this from him. His tech is faster, and so it's given him the option to use it defensively. He's got the Zergling speed, so he can just scout out his opponent, see that speed is still on the way for Tempo. And that his Lings pop out actually and reveal that he doesn't have speed yet while he sees that the spawning pool is still wiggling over there. So he's going to be fine. And LeetPandA just needs to buy a few more minutes time and maintain until he gets mutas. And Tempo going for the opposite tech, going for roaches and one Evo chamber. So he needs to get in and do a lot of damage with his Lings and scout what's going on to be able to hold this. But it's going to be interesting. Like you said on this map, the third is pretty far away, and the third base is the key to defending against a muta player as a non-muta player. If you get your third established up and mining, you're going to be fine. And there's Tempo going for the very quick third. Love to see that.
Yeah, as you were mentioning, Tempo needs to do something to really be able to counter this Muta play, and he did try to go for some quick lings, but the speed of they both had speed, but the speed of LeetPandA was a lot quicker just because of that about 5-6 supply earlier gas that he took. But Tempo did actually spot that Spire. I don't know if he saw it, but it does come up on his mini map, so he should be preparing for that, but not anytime soon. He still has got about 60-70 seconds for that. And as you mentioned, taking that third base and getting into a very nice roach tech. Now, I feel like maybe not necessarily a third base being quicker, any quicker than it is currently would be pretty much a three hatch before pool, something like that. But as you mentioned, he's got to get a lot of damage done with these roaches, which he does have the chance to do, especially with actually he's not getting with +1 armor. You could simply walk by the mutas, but he's not actually getting that and choosing to go for roach speed and damage. So it's going to be a little bit dicey how he deals with that, but he does have 11 roaches out before even a single mutalisk is going to be there, but 6 mutas are on queue for LeetPandA.
Yeah, LeetPandA actually didn't take his second gas in his natural for a long time. He had it built and then had it empty for a really long time. So I think he was saying that he didn't play it all last season. Now he's kind of in trouble here. I'm worried he doesn't have the enormous muta count that he really needs. And Tempo has been able to skimp on his air defense for so long. And these roaches are going to come out. They aren't going to have speed for a little while here, so I'm worried that he's not going to be able to move across the map and get that much damage done with him. But the spores at home are going to be a lot better deterrent for the mutas than a few roaches being able to flank around the map to do some damage to the third or something for Tempo. And since he already has that third base up, as long as he can hang on to that and keep it mining against the mutas, he should be in great shape.
Yeah, precisely. Now, this is the one situation where you kind of hate that you have great Overlord spread. Right now, the mutas are on the map, but at least they are going after the roaches. Roaches heading towards the natural. There is a decent amount of lings so far. That is 20 lings, 3 banelings, but not really engaging. Actually, the banelings do go all off onto 2 roaches, and these roaches trying to get some damage done. More roaches coming across the map, but there's still a ever-growing muta count and nothing to deny them. So far, Tempo only has, he does actually sport his main and natural, but not really, doesn't really have to worry about that. A couple more roaches are trying to come in, but so far they've almost been completely denied, and LeetPanda's looking like he's in a fantastic position. Neither player really taking too much of an economic lead, and honestly, that was a little bit of a throwaway right there for Tempo. Almost everything died, well, literally killing nothing.
Yeah, his roaches, I think you got to keep him at home when you see that your opponent's got the mutas out, and I know he saw him with the overlords before he moved out with the roaches. Just keep him at home, keep him underneath the spore crawlers, because like you said, like right there, they got thrown away, and it was really sketchy. Like if he had arrived just a few seconds earlier, he'd been able to get a lot done. But this ling run by from LeetPandA is really nice. He's gonna pick up a queen, maybe even a few drones. That's very, very nice, and that's gonna hurt. These mutas are gonna be able to get a lot done. They're flying right into 2 spore crawlers though. They move in, trying to snipe some banes and things. But this game now, I'm worried for Tempo, because he didn't get anything done with those roaches that he just sacrificed so many of them. He's got his third base up, but we'll see what he can manage to do with that.
Tempo sacrificed a lot right there, and instead of trying to make roaches work, make some more spore crawlers, he's going to do a tech switch, but 7 workers were dead in his main, and he does not have the gas really to make this tech switch happen. Trying to get out 3 infestors, hoping for those hero fungals, but 1 infestor goes down right off the bat, and in that infestation pit there, only now is pathogen glands being started, so for a very long time, I mean, Tempo's going to be contained, and for LeetPandA, lings are going to be enough to control ground.
Yeah, I'm really worried about Tempo. He had like a minute-long brain fart here, actually getting out a bunch of infestors before even starting pathogen glands upgrade, and now there's a bunch of uncontested lings in the main doing work on that mineral line. And he also miscontrolled his drones in the natural. Now he's only got 1 in one gas, 2 in another, and way too many drones on minerals while he's under drone in the main now that all those drones died, losing 17. The mutas have actually maintained their numbers high enough now that they can just fight the spore crawlers, and this third is now under fire, and I'm really worried about it.
Yeah, it's a situation where LeetPandA had air control, so Tempo, he needs to take ground control, but he just put so much gas into these roaches, into the infestors, and because of that, just very little roaches, lost 17 workers overall, and even more. He's actually lost 3 workers so far, and the mutas are almost completely untested, even going against these spore crawlers. More lings running into the main, and Tempo's just lost so much, barely trying to hold on, but there's just not enough spores. Third base was gone, as you mentioned, 7 more drones killed, and on the flip side of the map, LeetPandA is in a fantastic position, is up only 20 workers, surprisingly. Sorry, Only less than 10. Actually, he's only up 7 workers. Tempo's been
Tempo actually
loading
still
crazily.
building drones, but he's in so much trouble right now. He's got plenty of roaches out, but the spore crawlers are almost completely gone now. He's only got the one left in his mineral lines here, but losing that third, I can't reiterate enough. Like, the third base is the key to fighting off these mutas. And now the spore's dead. The queen that just pops out dies, and now these drones that are oversaturating the natural are all under fire. As the roach counterattack comes out across the map, but the mutas just pull back, and they're going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to that. The mutas are +1 attack, actually, so they're going to do great against these roaches despite their natural armored state. As Tempo goes straight for the third base, not enough lings out to really deny these roaches, so he's going to get some drone kills. It's going to be really nice for Tempo, but he's in so much trouble right now. These mutas are going to be able to clean up these roaches, turn around, and continue to do work at Tempo's base.
Yeah, as I was mentioning, just the lings running and getting so much damage done. Tempo is very little to defend. Trying to get up 3 more spore crawlers. Finally, it's 3 in the main, or actually 4 in the main, but lost that third base, and a little bit of damage was done, but still, LeetPandA is up 20 workers, and Tempo needs to have some hero fungals. He finally does have pathogen glands, but I'm not sure if it's going to work out. There is a queen at the third base. I'd love for that queen to somehow dash to the natural for some more defense, but Tempo's looking like in a scary position, especially with 24 roaches heading in for his natural.
Yeah, Tempo's in so much trouble here. The spores are not going to help at all against the roaches. The roaches just splitting up, attacking all the spores, attacking the queens. There's the GG from Tempo.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Game 2 of this Best of 3 series. In the top left of Coda, from Hot Damn, it is the red Zerg player, currently down a game, Tempo.
Tempo, our buddy. Hopefully he can bring it back this game. We'll see. Yeah. His opponent in the bottom right might have something to say about that, though. It is our blue Zerg representing EV Technologies, LeetPandA. I love Tempo's clan picture. That's hilarious.
I do too. Yeah, the horse is very clever, and Hot Damn Tempo is the only one in Hot Damn, so it's completely made by him to do whatever you want. I've considered it a couple times, making my own clan tag just to mess with people, but couldn't quite do it. He's the only one that can do it, really living up to that name, living up to the clan tag.
Yeah, I used to have a custom clan with some of my friends. That was fun, but never anything as cool as Hot Damn and a horse mask.
Yeah, precisely. And both players opening up pretty much the same way, actually, they did last game. I'm thinking it's going to be the exact same way. Yes, it is. Tempo going for a little bit later gas. Only a couple seconds, though, in this situation. 13 seconds, not too much. But I'm kind of wondering if it's going to end up this kind of the same thing happening. Maybe the roaches of Tempo may get there a little bit quicker, but as we were just saying in the break, Tempo did have +1 during that original attack in game 1, so as long as he can get in there just a couple seconds before the mutas come out, he should be able to get damage done, but for now, it's just pretty much winding up normally. No super early aggression in both players, just making sure they get their scouts off.
Yeah, he really should have reacted better to that in that game, but I play a much more Tempo style, the Tempo played last game, than I do play like LeetPandA. And I've had the exact same thing happen to me in ZVZs where the other player goes for speed in a layer. It's like about as fast a mute as you ever get in ZVZ. It's really the only way to do it safely. But it can be really sketchy if your opponent goes for really early aggression, and I think if Tempo had scouted that the Spire was on the way that fast, I think he should have made a bunch of roaches and attacked before roach speed was even done. Just get him in your opposing player's face, kill off some drones, slow him down. That way you can establish your third, get the spores up, and defend. And even without taking that damage, LeetPandA was only able to get out 7 mutas in the first place.
Yeah.
So it was not that scary. Like 1 spore per base, then you get up your Infestor or Hydrotech, however you want to play that out, and you go for it.
Yeah, it was only 7 mutas, but a decent amount of lings, along with Tempo going for +1 attack, no armor, so the lings were able to get some damage done and really negate that entire entire attack right there. But surprisingly enough, in game 1, Tempo did actually spot that Spire. But as I was mentioning, he saw it, but this is a little bit lower level, so I don't know if he really registered with him. Now, in this game, he is doing exactly what he did last game, getting a small amount of Zerglings out, and hoping to get some damage done. Now, on LeetPanda's side of the map, he's opening the same way, literally exactly, but this time both players' speed are much actually quicker, and surprisingly enough, Tempo actually has a quicker speed. These two Lings of LeetPanda will spot the Lings moving out, but hopefully Tempo will be able to get some damage done. This is by no means all in, but he's preparing for a strong attack, and even off the back of this getting layer, it's attack while you expand, or sorry, expand while you attack, or get some brutally awesome tech while you attack.
Yeah, I think Tempo is kind of flipping the tables here on LeetPanda. LeetPanda's not gone straight into Spire as Tempo has. He's going for that fast layer, and that's really all this will be used for. Is these Speedlings come in here, they're going to get quite a bit of work done here on these drones. There are 2 Queens on the ramp, though. They're going to be picking away at him. Picks up 3 drones with that. That's pretty nice. Forces some lost mining time there, not to mention forcing out the Spine Crawlers, which LeetPanda lost 1, canceled the other, is going to let the other one finish, looks like. And his tech is going to be behind, however he chooses to open here. His Tempo's layer is almost done. His gases 2, 3, and 4 are about to be done as well. And I think he's in great position to totally turn the tables on LeetPanda here and just get mutas all over his. LeetPanda's layer is just now starting. He's still got nearly a minute until that's even done, let alone until the Spire started.
Yeah, LeetPanda's layer is a lot later, but on the bright side, I mean, I love that LeetPanda took that engagement with the drones closer to those Queens, allowing the Queens to get some some range damage done, and really negating the majority of that attack. And sadly, the Spine Crawler was moved. At first, I really loved the Spine Crawler of LeetPanda, but since the position. But for now, LeetPanda will be moving across the map, and actually we'll see a couple of these Lings move across because of the Overlords, but for now, he should be able to get some damage done. A couple of Banelings for Tempo, which actually saved him a little bit last game. He got some nice the opposite, LeetPanda actually got a couple nice Baneling hits done. But for now, LeetPanda will move into that natural and spots the lair.
Yeah, great job by him to get the Banelings out of position, and they're so slow off creep that he's actually able to take a decent engagement against Tempo's Lings. He's going to get in and get the scout off, like you said. That's the real key for him. And the Spire is not on the way for LeetPanda yet.
Oh, it scouts the Spire right there. Beautiful. LeetPanda will scout that, and as you mentioned, Tempo, as you mentioned, Kamatiazo, Tempo's really literally just doing the exact opposite in the game right here, but this time we do see a Spire out of LeetPanda.
I think that's really optimistic out of LeetPanda. When you scout your opponent's Spire being that far along, then throwing down your own Spire right then and there. And Spires are one of the longest constructing tech structures in the game. They take so long to finish, and Tempo's mutas are already going to be out and on the way and doing damage. This is going to be a real sketchy hold here by LeetPanda. And Tempo's third is going to finish up a little bit more as well.
Yeah, and a huge Baneling hit right there, and a couple, finally, mutas coming out for Tempo. There's not that many Overlords out for LeetPanda, so nothing too much will happen, but as you mentioned, Tempo is going to put on a fierce amount of aggression, and hopefully doesn't lose it to those Banelings will a little bit. But this third base, nothing is at, not even a Queen to defend, and Tempo should be able to get some damage done.
Tempo, nice dodge there with a couple of the Lings. Keeps them alive to keep poking away at that third base, but LeetPanda is going to come in with another flood of Lings here. Tempo just using his mutas here to poke away at Overlords. And now LeetPanda is going up to 8 mutas, whereas Tempo already has 8 with a few more on the way, and his +1 attack is almost 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way done now. Yeah, and there's LeetPanda throwing down a ton of Spore Crawlers, and those might actually be too late. These mutas, they aren't that great at numbers yet, but they should be able to poke away at those. And the +1 attack is not normally the upgrade you want in Muta versus Muta, but because he's going to have it so much farther ahead of his opponent, actually getting a deny on the third base, that is absolutely huge play there by Tempo.
Yeah, it does deny the third base, but LeetPanda actually made it deny the third base for Tempo. A barely desperate Spine Crawler trying to get up, and Lings is desperately trying to get it up, but oh, will they get it? I think they will. There's just enough Lings there, and it will go down. Barely. Tempo is not able to defend. Finally, Tempo does pull through, though, defends. At the moment, it is 10 mutas for LeetPandA to the 12 of Tempo, but as you mentioned, Tempo now does have +1 attack, and like you were saying, it's pretty optimistic of LeetPandA to try to do this, kind of like in PvP. Your opponent's going Phoenixes, why would you try to mirror their Phoenixes? It's very hard to do, but apparently LeetPandA believes in himself, and actually, oh! Tempo does not quite engage with the full Meta Flock, needs to engage with the full thing, and does have +1, and should be able to thoroughly destroy LeetPandA as his Lings try to go for some attack, but won't really happen.
LeetPandA actually has more mutas here still, which is the key for Tempo. Now Tempo is actually down in mutas by 2. That upgrade doesn't matter that much. The +1 attack helps, but the +1 armor is just generally always better. He's actually got Overlord speed out now, so these Overlords can run away a little bit faster, but he's got them rallied out in the middle of the map. That sucks. He's lost quite a few. Tempo taking this engagement. It's 8 mutas for Tempo to the 9 of LeetPandA, and a nice transfuse on the muta there. That will help a little bit, but Tempo's mutas all go down. The muta numbers, like I said, are far more important than the upgrades, but with the Ling support actually coming down to support the bounces there, LeetPandA needs to pull back for a second, but he's still got the superior muta count. And Tempo taking that engagement without his full flock in the mid-map, like you called out, like that was the real problem for Tempo. But I think the biggest props in this game so far has to go to LeetPandA for getting the deny on Tempo's third in response to losing his own third. That was absolutely clutch, and it almost didn't happen, but he managed to squeeze it out there.
Yeah, definitely. LeetPandA barely has been nudging himself back into this game, and as you mentioned, armor would have been a better decision in Muta versus Muta, but Tempo actually did not scout that there was, he hasn't even scouted the Spire, so a little bit of playing in the blind right there, and there's so few mutas right now for Tempo. It is 16 mutas for LeetPandA to the only 6 of Tempo, and he has very little defend. No Spore Crawlers in the main, in the natural, or even at the third right now. It's going to be desperate defense. The Spike Crawler trying to get down at the third, but Lings will move into that, try to get much damage done, and LeetPandA taking a superior, quite strong grip on Tempo's neck.
Yeah, Tempo here counterattacking with his mutas, but he's losing his third to the Lings of LeetPandA, and his natural is under heavy fire. LeetPandA is actually going to get the Spire. This is a GG move here. This is checkmate for LeetPandA, taking down the Spire. Tempo cannot catch up in the muta count now. There is absolutely no way. He's down 16 to 11. He's still got 2 more on the way that he squeezed out right before the Spire went down, but the Lings continue to come in here and do damage. And Tempo's mutas are across the map doing damage to LeetPanda's third. They're going to get that eventually, looks like, but there's the GG from Tempo. It's a checkmate for LeetPandA there. It was too strong.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.